Well, I accidentally hit finish, my bad, and just ended the live. Ben was supposed to hop off, but it ended the live for both of us. So what I was saying is we got a hater that said, oh, it's the big head real estate show that no one watches. And it's like Facebook does that. Facebook makes us the big headed show. So it's just kind of funny. So I told them, thank you for helping our algorithm. Getting Ben on, hold on. And commenter, it's good or not great, is helping the algorithm. So if you get people that comment bad hate things, just know to let them know, say thank you for helping my algorithm.
Can you hear me better now?
No, but I put my headphones on, so I think it's something to do with my phone. I know my fat finger hit end instead of trying to get you off. So
I think right at the end there, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I was gone.
Yeah, it started to work. I could hear you. And then it just, awesome. And I was like, oh no.
All right.
Jumping in. We had a good win. We had a client get under contract last week on a amazing house. Closing costs paid for. Client buyer needed a little bit longer of a close. And so we were able to accomplish that and create a win-win. They have their inspection today. It was so cute. The listing agent just sent Janelle and I a picture of the things that the seller is asking the buyer if they want. And so they have like little sticky notes. Do you want me? Check yes or no. It was so cute. I was like, oh, I was like, that's so nice. I love working with other agents that are a joy to work with because it makes the transaction that much smoother. So.
Yes. Agreed.
With that being said, I have a listing that has been sitting. It was listed with an agent prior, so we couldn't start days on market over again unless we took it off for 60 days, and that's not what they wanted to do. So it looks like it's been on the market for a really long time. But when I was looking up how many homes are available in Puyallup under 550,000, which is a great first time home buyer market. And this is 3-bedroom, 1.7 by 5 bath plus. It's insane. How many do you think there was?
Puyallup?
Yeah, just in Puyallup.
60.
164.
Wow.
164 with an average days on market of 30 plus. I mean, some just got listed a day ago, some 3 days ago, some 10 days ago. Some have been on the market for 6 months. My listing included, even though it wasn't previously with me, but still plays a part. So 164 homes in Puyallup. That is so much opportunity. And Puyallup, I mean, and it's saturated hugely compared to other markets. And people are just on the fence, and I'm just like, what are people doing? Because there's just so much opportunity out there.
I was having that conversation basically today with another realtor, and she's been in the business for 20 some years also. And, clients currently, they're just, I don't know if they're scared or they're believing the news or think that maybe the market is going to crash so much. We go back in history to where when we were in the market back in 2005, 6, and 7, and I don't think there's a home that we wouldn't have bought in that time frame today.
Yeah.
And so if you think about that, and I remember we were talking about this. I remember back then people chicken littled and thought the sky was falling then. There was news reports that it's never going to come down. This is the biggest crash in history. Everything you're seeing today on TikTok and social media and CNN and everything in general, it was, if not worse in that time frame. And going to today, if we went backwards, there's not one house we wouldn't buy. So you got to kind of assume, again, we can't assume everything, but homes do appreciate over time. And if you fast forward 20 years, you're going to say, I wish I would have bought a home in that time period or any day before that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it's just uncertainty as a whole, right? People, we talked about this months ago, that in order to remove fear, because you can't really remove fear, okay? Like you can't just tell someone, don't be scared, right? Don't be afraid. Like that's not, it's like telling your wife to calm down, right? It's not going to end well. But what you can do is have courage. And in order to have courage, you have to take action.
I love that.
And that's really where people need to take a stand for themselves, for their families, and what that looks like for their future. Because it is something that you could do today that may feel like a loss, right? Like you're not stepping into something that you're like, oh my God, my mortgage payment's $4,500 a month. Woohoo, right? Like that may feel icky for a little bit when you're paying 3,700. And though you're depositing that into a savings account essentially in your home that's there to protect it and appreciate 4% year over year. What we're doing is that you can qualify. Whether you want to spend that or not is interesting, because honestly, you're never going to outsave that opportunity. You're never going to be able to come up with the 20% in that amount of time that you could make up that appreciation.
No.
And your rent is less, honestly, because that homeowner invested and had someone else pay off their mortgage so that they were able to charge a lesser amount. So I've been in this business 15 years. I wasn't there during 05, 06, but I was with Ben when that market was there, and it was crazy. I was a recruiter then, and the market just was nuts in different ways. But this market is still appreciating, even though it feels like it may not. I mean, instead of home prices going down a lot, they're just offering closing costs at full price. So the market still is not adjusting that much.
Which is better. We've had that conversation on other lives. If you take $10,000 off of a purchase price, you're saving $60, $70 a month. And if you take that $10,000 and use it for a rate buy down or closing costs, it's dollar for dollar. So you can really strategically plan and make that payment affordable and take advantage of one of the best markets in history. When we look back, this will probably go down in one of the best first-time home buyer markets in history.
Yep. I think the hard part is that people's wages haven't continued to rise along with that. And then the cost of goods have gone up. And so when grocery costs go up and gas prices go up and, Amazon prices go up, people don't see where they possibly could come up with another 3, 4, $500 a month in payment. But what you don't realize is, like what Ben and I are talking about, is like you could look at a temporary buy down that you could figure out that extra payment in if you qualify. We can look at your finances and say, okay, what do we need to red light, green light, that you're going out to eat, or, maybe it's one less Amazon trip. That hurts me to say that out loud, but that is possible to buy a home. Absolutely possible. you know so I get it. I feel the pain. I understand the pain. I understand that people are living way beyond their means and don't really know how to get out of it right now. But what if you looked at it as vacation opportunities, right? You own your home, you've got appreciation, now you're starting to build wealth. What would it look like to travel and do those things? So you got to start building now.
Well, and you said it just a second ago. It's about sacrifices. First
I
thing
don't
you
want
have
to
to
call
do,
it sacrifices. I want to call it adjustments
adjustments.
because
I love that. So you look at your budget, you create, you turn the light on, and then you look at exactly what you can adjust in your life to make it affordable because we can. And
hmm
once you do make it affordable, when you're out, because you're not going to outsave inflation, you said it, the wages are not increasing like inflation is. So if you don't buy assets and acquire assets to go up in value with inflation, that gap gets bigger. And yes, it may be comfortable today to pay a rent payment of $2,000 to $3,000 a month, but it will not always be there. That may go up considerably. And if it does, then now you're making adjustments being a renter versus building wealth as a homeowner.
yeah. I mean, there's so many house hacks and things that you can do in order to make it make sense for you. Um, no matter what age you're at. So, I mean, we've helped, clients of ours, children buy homes and look at renting it out, multiple friends. I mean, if you're going to go rent a house with your homies, why not have them pay your mortgage for you?
Agreed. Agreed. It's a
Yeah,
house.
what 164
It's
homes
so
is
many in Puyallup.
there's so many options, and that doesn't even include like Golden Given area or Vickery. That's a Tacoma address
Yeah,
that
that's Tacoma.
technically is like Puyallup too. Um, now you've never had more options and concessions. I mean, we look at 2021, 2022, that was not happening. Like the fact
Oh,
that in 6 years, less than 6 years, we're seeing this type of buyer's market makes me realize that we're going to head back into that type of market here soon. Because there's what goes up must come down too, and we're in the down market. So, what's going down, I feel like we're already hitting bottom, is going to go right back up because we've talked about if interest rates go down a point, that amount of buyers that come out into the pool, there's not going to be 164 homes left. There's going to be a shortage of inventory.
agreed. And then no closing costs and prices will be above listing.
Yeah. But I mean, the market is the best time to buy was yesterday. The second best time to buy is today. So, what questions should people be asking themselves if it makes sense for them now?
I don't even know if it's the questions you ask, because some people don't even know what to ask. It's more of you have a unique plan ahead of you based on what you do for work, what your goals are, and where you're at. I think a lot of people take too much advice from people who are not in the industry. And, the guy at Jiffy Lube that says, hey, don't buy a home right now, the market's going to crash. Or an uncle or cousin or grandma or mom or dad who own a home and says, don't do it yet, wait. Or whatever that may be based off information they hear, they may be waiting for those reasons. It's so important because every situation is unique to turn on the light and find out what your path is, not what someone else's path is.
Well, what if I'm scared because I don't want my credit pulled and for my credit to go down? I've worked really hard on it.
Why did you work so hard on your credit?
So I could have lower interest rates on my credit cards.
Okay. And probably build wealth in real estate, I would assume, also, and buy a home.
Well, I never really thought about it, but eventually.
Okay. So turning on the light does not affect your credit in the way you think it may affect your credit. I would love to discuss this further, and then we would just go into it. So the reality is by turning the light on, there may be more good than harm. And we would have to go through the details of that in credit and everything else in analyzing your credit, income, and assets to know exactly what your path is. And by turning the light on, you have more education behind what you're doing, which allows you to truly start creating the wealth.
Well, and I think it's more than just a looking at to see if buying a house makes sense, right? Like you have credit conversations with them, overall debt conversations. Should I pay off my car? Or people are like, I gotta wait to pay off all my credit cards before I have someone look at it. I know it can feel like you're getting naked in front of a stranger. That's awkward. But really, there is no judgment. We've seen it all. We've been there. We're going through it, right? Like we're all in a place of vulnerability. And that when you have someone that doesn't have an emotional interest in what you make, what you do, however, that can just look at all the opportunities, it plays a huge part into all aspects, not just buying a house.
Well, and to go even a little deeper before I go into some things I'd love to cover today is I had a client that was pre-approved through a bank. I will not say the name for 400,000, and they love a home for 425. And there was nothing they could do. They were referred to me. I just had a conversation. They were very scared. Their banker told them that me running their credit was going to hurt them. We did turn the light on. We got them approved for 427, and we may get them under contract. Now, how we did that was by looking at the credit and turning the light on. We were able to take one or two debts and rearrange them with one, their daughter, they co-signed for a car, and the banker never even went through the information with them. So just by having that conversation about credit and putting yourself in a position where you can know what's really the next step or what the plan is, allowed these folks to most likely, and hopefully we get there, buy this home in the area by their parents. And that is so amazing because her to be able to live 5 minutes from her, drop her kids off when she goes to work, and all the stories she told me is powerful. And a trusted bank person basically didn't, and maybe they don't have those options. So by turning on the light and going back to that credit, by her pulling the credit, whatever the cost of that was, the reward was so much more. So if you've been turned down or you were told, sorry, you can't do something, turn the light on with someone like us, a direct lender who can do things a little bit more than maybe a current bank. Or if somebody didn't give you a plan on how to take that next step or accomplish your goals, those are the conversations and questions you should be asking.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many layers and so many things and helpful, into the resources of insurance agents that we have, the title reps that we work with throughout this process, the trusted vendors, the reputation that we have in this industry with listing agents and all of that, from doing business for a long time. You're going to be put in the best seat possible to get you to where your goals are.
Yep. Love it.
Okay, take it away for your announcements or whatever you want to talk about.
So there's some cool changes. We talked about condo changes in the past. I always like bringing current information out there. The appraisal is changing and technically has changed already. It goes into account November 2nd of 2026. So end of this year, all platforms, Freddie, Fannie, everybody will have to have adopted it. Most of us are already kind of using it at some type of level. But I'm actually really excited about this one. And you don't need to sit through an hour class to do this. They're very simple. The overall items, and I'll go through some of them today, they're just changing. It used to be a uniform appraisal data set, which is called a UAD. Now it's a uniform residential appraisal report. So it's a URAR. So you may see that around in the future. The real difference is there used to be a bunch of forms, all different forms, all different things. We're talking kind of mold together. Like the biggest one that I like is before they gave one grade for interior and exterior. Well, now with the data they're collecting, they're doing two separate grades, and it makes complete sense. They're doing an inside grade and an outside grade. It's better than what they were doing. Like before with the data fields, they would, basically have the appraisers giving like paragraphs where it's like, this kitchen is nice and updated. The internet works well. Now it's going to be more exact checklists so that you can really quantify or use quality in the appraisal. It'll be more data driven information so that it's more of an accurate appraisal. Okay, that's the idea behind it all. So some of the things that are changing is, again, it's one single dynamic report versus a bunch of different 1004 and 1073 and all these different numbers that you have to go find and can be kind of confusing. The biggest thing, again, is the room by room feature reporting is going to be pretty amazing. Sometimes we see value and they use below grade, or they use this, or they take an average of a split level versus a multi. It's just, it can be very frustrating coming from a mortgage profession or real estate, when now I think they're going to have a little more data driven information, so it breaks it down into what is the speed of the high internet, what or do they have solar panels? That was a big question I have with my son being in solar, is how do you truly value a solar system that they're paying 30, 40, 50 grand for? And what does it do? They usually just gave it a basic couple grand, when that may be a lot more savings behind it. So what's the true value? With some of these things that they're doing on the checklist, they're going to truly bring in more exact data-driven information, which overall should bring a better appraisal report long-term.
Awesome. I
So
do
that's
like
the,
that. I do like the interior versus exterior, because someone
yes.
could also, have a great interior, but, didn't handle the deferred maintenance on the exterior too, right? And
Mhm.
or vice versa. I do like what that brings. So
Well, and the other thing too was crazy is you had these appraisers giving basically like a story about it, where they would write like, one big paragraph or 2 pages about, their thoughts and opinions and things, when now there's going to be more detailed check boxes of, for instance, was the kitchen updated in the last 5 years?
you're on mute, babe. I'm sure Jordan was trying to call you. He tried to call me too. You're still on mute. You're on mute, Ben. Can't hear you. No, you're on mute. You're still on mute. I don't know. He's still talking and he's still on mute. So, well, we'll end it at that, guys, because he's still talking and I can't hear him. So we will just end it today and let you guys know. Come back and watch our shows every Monday at 2 o'clock, or rewatch the plays later on. So have a good one. Bye.